Okay, this is with Christina Tollefson.
I was born down in Griggs County, rural Griggs County. That's where I went to school.
Where's Griggs County? In Minnesota?
No, North Dakota. Do you know where Dakota is?
Yeah.
Well, that's Nelson County, and
Yeah.
Griggs County is right on the south side of
what was the nearest town then?
Annetta.
Oh, Annetta. I know
Yeah.
where Annetta is.
Cooperstown's the county seat. Yeah.
So that's where you're from. I
Yeah,
always thought
sure.
you were from Minnesota.
No, North Dakota.
Oh.
That's where I was born and raised and went to school. And then I come to Williams County. No, not Williams. Wild Rose. I would say Wild Rose.
Yeah.
The 29th of July, 1913.
1913, huh?
When I come here, or to Wild Rose.
Okay, you came in 1913 to Wild Rose. And that was by train, because that's as far as the train went at that time.
That's as far as the train went.
And then what did you do?
Well, my cousin met me there and took me out to my homestead.
How long did it take to go from Wild Rose to the homestead?
Oh, by team, it took, I'll say at least 2 hours,
So it would be about 16 or 17 miles, because you went kind of cross country.
Oh yeah, we did go across the mountain lot.
Yeah.
Prairie Road,
Yeah, because now I think it's about 16 miles from Wild Rose to Alamo, but if you cut across, it wouldn't be as much, I don't think.
No, we did go across quite a bit.
And so your homestead now was
Divide Couny.
Yeah, it's about a quarter of a mile north of the Upper Church, isn't that right? And it was on the east side of that kind of prairie trail.
Yeah.
How far was it from the house that Pete and I got built?
Oh, about a quarter of a mile.
But that house wasn't there at that time, was it?
No, not Pete Nygaard's wasn't there.
Well, who was there then when you first came?
No one was there.
Was there anybody in that whole section?
Yeah, Stevenson.
Stevenson was there?
Yeah, Stevenson, that's true.
Holy Stevenson. How about on the quarter, on the west side of the road then? Was there anybody there?
No, I had the northeast. No, I'm getting mixed up on this here. There's a section line there between Pete Nygaard and my homestead. Yeah. And I was on the east side of that section line, I was on the northwest quarter. On
the northwest quarter?
Yeah.
Okay.
Helens lived southeast from me.
Yeah, they had the southeast.
Yeah, and they lived there.
At that time?
Yeah.
But how about the other two quarters? Were they?
No, they were empty. No one lived in them.
When you first got to the place, what was there? Now, your brother had built the shack himself.
Yes, yeah. And he relinquished his rights, you see. And I filed on it.
In 1913. Did you feel...
February in 1913.
How old were you then when you first
21.
got there? 21. Did you feel kind of like you were a pioneer at that time?
No, I didn't feel that way, no, because they all had proved up their land, And I hadn't.
So you came a little later than
yes.
But still, it was pretty early.
Oh, yes. Just about a prairie around.
How long had Helen's been there before you got there?
I wouldn't know how long they've been there, but they've been there a few years.
A few years, but not like 10 years or anything.
Hardly.
Like probably 5 or 6 years at the
I
most.
suppose they had. Hagen's were earlier. See, and Helen's come later than Hagen.
Oh, I didn't know that. I guess I don't know just when they came.
Yeah, they come in 6 or 7. That's when they come too, you see.
Oh, Louis, came at the same time.
He come with the immigrant car. Hagen's immigrant.
How many of them came at the same time then?
Oh, I wouldn't even know. No. See, Josie come later.
Yeah, I know Josie came later. But there was Louis and Andrew.
Yeah, and Tom Larson.
Tom Larson.
There was one more, but I can't remember his name. Because I never got to know him.
He evidently didn't stay very long.
No, he just filed on the homestead
and left again.
So many did that. Yeah.
What was your shack like? It was just one room, I suppose.
Yes, just one room, 10 by 12.
It was a wooden structure, was it?
Yes, it was wooden.
Did it have
tar paper on the outside?
Did it have a round roof, or was it the
No, it was a flat.
Oh, just a flat roof with it kind of slanted one way, I suppose. And just tar paper around it.
Yeah, and the paper inside.
With
heavy building paper.
Oh, I see. What was in it now? There was a stove, I suppose.
Yes, a little bit of a stove and a table and a cot for bed. And a chair. And that was it was 2 chairs. 2 chairs.
That was it. Did you have to bring all kinds of blankets and stuff?
Oh, yes, I had to bring all my provisions.
What time of the year was it that you got here?
In July.
It was in July, so the middle of summer. I suppose it was
Yeah.
kind of hot then.
Well, it was plenty warm and dry.
I suppose.
Yes.
Had any of the land been broken when you came?
Yeah, 15 acres.
Were broken. Did you expect to farm it then, or what? You were just going to prove up?
I had no plans. When I come, I just was going to have that homestead. But I had no plans. No.
How about, were there windows in the shack then when you came?
Yes, 2 small windows with 4 panes in each window.
So they're about like 18 by 18 probably, or smaller?
Could be about that.
Yeah. So that wasn't, what did you think when you first saw it?
Oh, it looked kind of dreary.
I suppose it did.
Yes, and it was full of mice.
I suppose it would be at that time.
Oh, was it full of mice?
So what did you do then?
Oh, I had traps along. I trapped mice all night.
How long did your cousin stay with you then?
No, I know, he just took me over there.
Just
And
dropped
then
you off.
loaded my stuff. And then he went back to Wild Rose.
Oh, he was from Wild Rose?
Well, 4 miles west of Wild Rose.
So you were left alone suddenly?
Yes, I was left alone, didn't know anybody.
You didn't know anybody around there? So there you are, all alone out in the middle of Divide
Prairie.
Prairie.
Yeah.
What did you do then when you first, when your cousin left and there you were standing?
Well, the first thing I had to do was to try to clean up the shack, you know.
How long had it been sitting there with nobody in it?
My brother was there in January for a month. And then he decided he wasn't going to stay in it longer. So
I suppose it was kind of cold in January.
Oh, yeah. But then, you know, you had stove, you know, so you fired.
What sort of fuel did you use? Was it coal?
Lignite, yeah. I got the other kind of coal, though. That what they call the hard coal, you know. So I had some of that.
Where did you get that from?
From Wild Rose.
Oh, it came all the way from Wild Rose?
Oh, yes.
Was it kind of expensive to have it hauled in then?
Oh, yeah. Well, my cousin brought it out to me, so I was okay, yeah.
How about your grocery shopping and stuff when you had to get supplies? Where did you go then?
To Cottonwood Lake.
Oh, to Cottonwood. How big was Cottonwood then?
Oh, well, it was quite a few buildings there. I don't know if I remember, but they had a hotel and they had a drugstore and a grocery store, of course, and a livery barn.
So, and a few houses in around.
Oh, yes, quite a few houses. They had a hotel.
Oh, they did have a hotel?
Yeah, that hotel is the motel. No, that's where Storedollins live in.
Oh,
that's the old Cottonwood Lake Hotel.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's it.
How about, you didn't have a team or anything then?
No, you had to go with your neighbors or borrow a horse.
Did you ever get a team then while you were?
No,
You didn't have a team?
No, I didn't.
So when you wanted to go to town, you either went with somebody else?
Yeah. You couldn't walk, it was too far to walk.
It was? Yeah, it would be about 6 miles probably.
Oh, yeah, close to that, I guess.
I would imagine.
Yeah. Of course, you did a corner, but then...
Yeah. Well, it would still be at least 5 miles.
Oh, yes, it would be that long.
Yeah.
Or that far. And I got my mail from Ella, post office.
Where's Ella?
North, quite a ways north. Along the road that marks the north from there.
About how far?
Quite a few. Oh, I wouldn't hardly know now because it's so long ago you go.
Was it about 10 miles or something?
Oh, yeah. Well, no, hardly that far. About 6 miles.
So it was probably farther than it was to Cottonwood Lake.
No, but Mrs. Nygaard got their mail there, and she wanted me to get my mail where they got theirs.
Oh, so you could just kind of go together or something?
We did go together.
Now, was Mrs. Nygaard there at that time?
Yeah.
When you first came?
Oh, yeah.
So you probably met her first?
Yeah, she was one of my best friends.
When did do you remember when you first saw her?
I was there.
But you don't quite remember?
No, I don't quite remember. But the first ladies' aid I went to was
It was at Helen's.
At Helen's.
Was the church there at that time?
They used the schoolhouse.
No, was that the schoolhouse that was just by Lawrence's old place?
Yes.
So that would have been about a mile and a quarter, or a mile and a half further south.
Yeah, somewhat about that.
More or less. Was that a little stone schoolhouse?
No, it was the schoolhouse. that was there, you know, that,
Well, I've never seen that schoolhouse.
oh, was that taken down right
was
before
taken
you?
down.
Oh.
But I thought there was a little stone schoolhouse there
No.
somewhere.
Mm-mm.
Oh, there never was. That must have been something I've heard.
Yeah, no, there was a
Little wooden one.
Yeah.
How big was that about?
Oh, I couldn't hardly tell you that.
It was bigger than your house, though.
Oh, yes. Oh,
Quite a
yeah.
bit.
There was quite a few kids in that school, you know.
Oh. Well, I was never there. So
No, that's where the Hagans went, and Morgs and Helens, Petersons,
the whole bunch around there.
yeah, Johnsons, Olsons. They all went to that school.
So you went to this ladies' aid meeting?
Yeah, to Helen's.
Uh-huh.
That was Helen's place. That's the first time I seen Mrs. Hagan too.
Oh, it was. Well, Josie was there at that time.
Oh, yes, yes.
Well, how long had she been there now? Well, she came after Andrew came.
Yeah,
How long was
she
it
came in the
after?
fall of 7, I guess.
Oh, so she had been there for
Oh,
6 years or
yeah,
so before you
she
came.
had. But it
So,
was the baby.
yeah.
Now, that was my first ladies' aid in Bethal Church.
Yeah, I suppose
Then
it
I
was.
had ladies' aid in the spring.
How often did the ladies' aid meet then?
Oh, well, it would be every 2 or 3 weeks because we didn't have service every Sunday.
Oh, I see. So
Oh,
sometimes you'd meet instead of church, or it was after church? Or something?
after church. But he had the minister sometimes would come and have service right at the aid too.
Oh, I see. So then all the men and the women would get together?
Oh, yes, everybody. Whole families.
Oh, I suppose.
Yes.
And everybody wearing their Sunday best.
Oh, they come from miles around. To,
I
to
bet
the
that was kind
ladies.
of exciting there.
Oh, yeah, that was on the entertainment really.
Uh-huh.
Was the ladies' aid.
Did you ever have dances and stuff like that?
They did, but I never did go to any dances, so I never. They didn't seem to have so much of them really.
How about like basket socials?
Oh yeah, we had baskets or stuff for a net leg.
You told me about that.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell me again about that?
Well, he bought my basket.
Well, do you remember how you ended up going there? Who went with you?
Miss Paulson, she stayed with me, a teacher.
Uh-huh.
She stayed with me.
For
And we went to Cottonwood Lake
uh-huh.
by sleigh. This was September, but we had a big snowstorm.
So whose sleigh were you in with?
Even Nygaard's.
Uh-huh.
We borrowed their team, and we had a big 125 bushel tank that we had on the sleigh that we
So
rode in.
It was a farm. It was like a grain tank.
Yeah, sure.
So
Great big one. And then when we bought our stuff for the basket social,
do you remember what you made for your basket?
not exactly. Maud made most of that because we went to town to get material for our baskets, and we made her basket and our baskets. And then we went over to her place, and she had, well, we had a few things too, like sandwich, and we had cookies and stuff. But she added more to it, so we'd have more variety
Sure.
in our baskets.
Uh-huh. Well, how did you make them real fancy?
Oh yes, we decorated it with print paper, the baskets.
So they were kind of
Yeah, we had boxes. It was a box, and we had decorated them. We had flowers on them. Oh yeah, they were quite decorated.
So then what happened when you went to the social?
Well, then that was in the schoolhouse, and they had this.
How many people came, would you say, about?
Oh, yeah, the whole community.
So there'd be like 50 or 100?
Oh yes, no, not that many, but there would be over 50.
And so it was men and women.
Yeah, the men bid on the baskets.
What would they do? Did they have any fanfare when they started the bidding, or how did they get the whole thing
It was
started?
an auctioneer. They auctioned them out,
What happened to the money then?
This money went to help a couple of kids. They were nephews and nieces of Mrs. Holdridge in Norway that was left parentless,
Oh, I see.
Their parents died. And those kids come here.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, they did, and so did the grandparents. But the grandparents went back to Norway.
But the kids stayed?
Yeah, and one of them is living here in town now.
In Williston?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember what your name was?
Yeah, it's Tony, they call him Antonsen.
Antonsen?
Remember his first name?
Well,
Well, they call him Tony, yeah.
So now you were going to have the auctioneer got up and he'd say,
Well, they'd hold the basket up, and someone would bid on it, you know.
How much did the baskets usually go for?
Oh, $3-4, and sometimes more than that too.
And that was quite a bit back then, wasn't it?
Oh yes, sure it was. I don't remember how much mine went for now, but it was right around there.
And was it pretty exciting?
Oh yeah, I don't know, I know it was.
I didn't
know anybody.
Sure.
And I didn't know who it was that got my basket, because I'd never seen there before.
And what happened then when somebody got your basket and you went with the basket?
Oh yes, then you went and had your lunch together then usually. Sat and ate together.
So Louis got your basket?
Yeah.
And you didn't know it from...
I've never seen him before.
And what did you do then? Go off and sit in the seat someplace?
Yeah, we sat somewhere in the building there, you know, in the seats. And
do you remember what he said to you? Was he pretty
no,
shy?
No, I can't. He wouldn't be shy.
He wasn't shy?
No. He's a great talker, you know. I remember we had a good visit. And the one that bought the teacher's basket was Tom Larson.
Oh.
And Tom didn't talk.
He was so shy or something?
Yeah, she couldn't get to visit with him at all. So she come over to us and sat down, and we all visited together then, after they'd had their lunch.
He wouldn't talk to her?
No, he didn't say anything. All he can say was,
Was he always that quiet?
Well, I don't know, but he was shy, very shy at the time. Yeah. So that's how I met Louis anyway.
Then what happened? Did you get to see Louis then more and more often?
Oh yes, of course, naturally.
I suppose. How long was it from then until you got married?
Oh, this was in 13, and we were married in 15.
So 2 years or a year and a half later or something?
Yeah.
Do you remember how he happened to ask you to marry him, or how that came about?
Well, that of course is kind of a secret.
Oh. A secret, huh?
Well, you know, you wouldn't tell yours either.
No, I suppose I probably wouldn't.
No, you wouldn't.
Were you pretty happy when...
Oh, yes, I was happy with her all the time. Yeah.
What, Louis lived about, how far would it be now from your place? About
4 or 5 miles.
So it'd be south and west.
Yeah.
And...
we lived in Williams County.
So you had to change counties.
Yeah.
But still, did you still go to Orthodox Church then?
Oh, yes. Yeah,
So,
we went to a church all the time.
So they were still in the same community, you might say.
Yeah. That's where we continued to be.
Well, did Louis just have a shack then too, or did he have more buildings in mind?
He had a barn and a house, of course. He had 12 by 16.
Was it more of a house then?
Yeah, his was built more like a house, like that's what was the kitchen.
Oh, I see. I've seen that part of it.
That is what.
So then you just gradually added on to it as your family grew.
We moved over there in 17, and then we built on the other part of the house in 17. And when we first moved there, we had quite a few men working, and in that little shack, and a bed in there. We couldn't very well feed too many in there, so they ate outside.
They did?
We had the table set outside.
How much did Louis farm do you know?
No, he bought another quarter, so we had 2 quarters.
So it took several men to farm?
Well, he had hired Edwin Thompson to break up the south quarter that he bought. Yeah, and rock pickers, you know. Diggers.
Took quite a crew.
Yeah, we had quite a few men. Joseph Thompson stayed and helped me, so I had to hire a girl then.
How did you spend much time with Higgins then?
Oh no, we were together quite a bit. Yeah. Every holidays that we were more or less together all the time.
No, I think Dad has said that he used to stay over at your place every once in a while.
We stayed over there a lot, both him and Lawrence.
Both him and Lawrence?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess, what did they do? Just kids, I suppose?
Well, yeah, they were just kids. Well, after I got bigger, him and I would cut hay. He had one more and I had one more.
Oh, you mean mower with horses?
Yeah.
So you were out there cutting hay too?
Oh, yes.
What else did you get to do? What would you do in your normal day? For a normal week, did you have one day to wash clothes?
Or work and iron.
Well, did it take more than one day to wash and iron? Or?
No, I usually done it more often than one day. Yeah. And then of course we had stock, so there was lots of chores to do.
Oh, I suppose.
Oh, yes.
And there wasn't any electricity then, so it was all kerosene and everything else was done by hand.
Yeah, everything by hand.
Well then, did you ever get a buckboard or anything, or was it always just a wagon and horses?
Just wagon, and until we got Barry had a car,
Well, he did.
most of the time, yeah.
When did he get that?
He got his the Ford in 1912, I guess.
Oh, so when you knew him, he had a car.
Yeah, he had a car.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he had a car.
So that was pretty fancy.
Oh, that was real fancy.
Did quite a few of them have cars then?
No.
It was a pretty new thing.
It was new at the time.
Was,
He pioneered the car and he pioneered the combine.
yeah, Dad told me that. He had a picture there.
He really pioneered the combine.
Do you remember that? Was he happy with the first combine?
Oh, yes. He really was.
Do you remember how it looked? Was it kind of strange?
It was an
when you first saw it?
international, of course. And it come knocked down.
So you had to put it together?
Yeah, they put it together in Alabama.
They did?
Mm-hmm.
So there was an international dealer in Illinois?
Well, Stockman.
Oh, Stockton's.
And Stockman. He ordered it to him.
Was it the...
That was quite a setup.
I suppose it was. Did it attract a lot of attention?
Oh, yeah, I'll say it did. People come from everywhere to see that machine work.
Uh-huh. Did you have a lot of trouble with it that you remember?
Mm-hmm.
It worked real good?
Yeah, it worked good.
Did it do a better job of threshing than using a threshing machine?
Oh, yes.
Well, how did you thresh then? Was it threshing machines before that?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So there were old steam tractors?
No, we had tractor. During Holm and John Nelson and Gressett had to rig together.
Had a threshing machine
And
and a tractor?
Mm-hmm. But then they had such trouble with men, keeping men. So that's what made they get the combine.
Because it took quite a crew to thresh.
Yeah, and then when they'd strike, when they'd stay with you while the weather was bad, and when the weather got nice so you could work, then they'd strike for higher wages.
Oh.
And if you didn't get it, where they'd leave you,
And
you'd sit there.
was that the day of the IWW?
Oh, yeah, someone.
Do you remember that very well?
Oh, yes.
Strikers and stuff?
Yes. I remember that.
Yeah, I suppose. What did you think about it all at the time?
Well, it was disgusting.
I suppose
Because the grain had to be threshed and you'd fed them all the time. And then when they were ready so they could work, or they wouldn't work.
How much did they get paid?
Oh, I don't remember, no. I don't remember, but they were always paid by the hour.
And they get their food too.
Oh, yeah. The food and lodging.
Yeah.
So then he decided he was going to get something else to. He was going to have those men around all the time. He says, if there's any other way I can get my grain taken care of, I'm going to have it.
And that's when you got trouble.
Yeah, we went to Grenora one Sunday. And my brothers out there, they knew of this machine in Montana. And they went out there to see this machine, and it was working too. They were working that day. So he seen it work, and he come back. He was so enthusiastic about it. Went to Stockman the next morning.
In order to come
Yeah. And Stockman didn't know what to think of the man that wanted a machine like that. But he ordered it for him, and it come knocked down.
And he put it together and put it out in the field.
Yeah.
How long did it take before other people got combines then?
Oh, it didn't take too long, but it was a few years though.
Now there's a picture of that thing somewhere, isn't there?
Yeah, that combine?
Yeah.
I wonder, I think your mother's and dad's.
I've seen a
I
picture
think
of
they
it.
got it.
So,
Yeah, I gave them that, it's a whole picture of our place, and I got those pictures in there. It didn't have a hopper. It had, they pulled a wagon alongside of the grain tank.
Oh, and the grain just go right into the grain tank. Do you remember seeing it for the first time? What did you think about that?
Well, I don't know what I thought, because it is really something new.
Yeah, I suppose. Do you remember when you got a washing machine?
Yes, I remember when I got my first washing machine.
How did you wash clothes before you got the washing machine?
We rubbed it on the board.
With a scrub board?
Yeah.
Then you got a washing machine?
Yeah.
How did you find out about washing machines? Somebody else had one?
Oh, no. You had the Sears Robot catalog, and they had a picture there, you know.
Oh, they had a picture of it.
Oh, yes.
And so you ordered one then?
Yeah, we got one that turned around.
Oh, like a barrel?
Yeah.
Did it work pretty good?
Oh, yeah, it did.
Did you think, were you satisfied with it when you got it?
Yes, because it was better than standard rubbing, you know.
I suppose.
Knuckles got quite sore before you got through.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Was it faster too then?
Oh, yeah, it was faster. It was a lot nicer.
Do you remember when you got a agitating one, like with a motor on it?
Yes. In 25, I got the Maytag with a motor on.
Did you like that?
Oh, yes, that went slick.
I suppose. Now, you had that down in the basement, didn't you?
No, I had it in the porch.
Oh, it was in the porch. And it ran with a gasoline motor?
Yeah, it had a gasoline.
Did you ever have trouble starting it and stuff?
I didn't have much trouble.
It always worked just fine?
Yeah, always worked. Until we put electric motor on, then we got a, what is it, 32 volt?
Yeah, 33 and 32 volt. That was with a wind charger and batteries.
Yeah.
So you had electric lights then?
Yes.
Do you remember that when you first...
Oh, yes, I remember the electric lights. I got a Frigidaire and I got an
iron. You got all of
iron.
that stuff at the same time?
Yeah.
Now, before you had the electric iron, you had to heat the things on a stove.
Oh, yeah.
Well, did you have a cook stove then?
No, I had a gasoline stove.
Or gasoline? Or what?
Started with a kerosene, but I had gasoline at last.
Was that better?
Detroit vapor stove. Yeah, that was really nice. It was cleaner.
It wasn't so hot, I suppose, in the sense.
Oh, yeah.
If you had a big cook stove.
Oh, yeah. They are hot.
Yeah.
No, I never had the real cook stove. I always would have either gasoline or kerosene stoves. And we had a heater for heating the houses.
Oh, a regular, like a furnace or something?
Yeah, we had the furnace after he built down the house. And we
put in a furnace. Was that down in the basement? So that was like a central heating.
Yeah.
But before that, you just had a
stove.
Stove. And what did that run on? That was kerosene too?
No, that was coal.
Coal. So you had to carry the coal buckets.
Yeah.
Was it kind of cold then? I mean, in the winter time?
Oh, it could get plenty cold.
How warm did you keep it in the house then, do you suppose?
Oh, we never had the thermometer, so I wouldn't hardly know.
But it wasn't as warm as people keep them now.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
But it was...
And it got cold nights.
Like, would it freeze water at night?
Oh, yes, it would. It would freeze water right on the stove.
How about, like when you were... Like, we're so used to, in the wintertime, we sit around and we're dressed, you know, like in the summer, we don't have sweaters on and stuff. But it wasn't like that then. When you leave your house, it was
You
good.
had to have heavy clothes all the way through.
So, and like when you went to bed, I suppose you had the heavy blankets.
Oh, yes.
And you really dressed for winter.
We didn't have sheets for winter time, you know, we had blankets that we slept in.
I suppose because it would be warmer.
Yeah, they would be warmer.
Do you remember any big storms? Like, do you remember the storm? Were you on the farm in 53? 1953?
No, not in 53. I wasn't there then. I was here then.
When did you leave the farm?
43.
In 43. Were there any big storms that you remember?
Oh, yes. We had that one where there was 5 people killed up north there, you know.
Was that
Halverson?
Oh, that was the same one when we got the Halverson farm.
That was a bad one.
Do you remember what happened? Was it a real big cloud?
Yeah, it had been so hot that day. Oh, it was hot. And then in the evening here, this cloud come up, and it come quite fast. So we were afraid of a storm when it come like that. No, it really was quite a storm.
Did you get hail and stuff?
Yeah.
What time of the year was it? It was in the summer then?
It was in June.
Oh, so it didn't damage the crops
6th
then?
or 7th of June.
It didn't
It
damage
didn't seem to damage too much.
because they were too young, I suppose, to be great. So you were lucky there.
Yes.
But it was quite a storm.
Oh, it was quite a storm.
Were you scared?
Well, we didn't get a chance to get scared hardly.
Did you have a cellar or something to go into? Or?
No, we rented our farm to David Burby. And they lived on the farm, and we had kind of a little shack that Louis pulled in from town that we lived in on the place. And they were afraid of storms, so they said if ever a storm come up, be sure to come and tell us. So we seen this, and we went over to the house. And we had trapdoors outside, and they blew up. They were standing straight up. And so the men went down the basement to shut those doors, but they couldn't get them down before it was over with. And the house just shook. But they wouldn't believe us, when they come up. They didn't believe that it had been that bad. And we stayed there then. We didn't go back to our shack because the part of the roof had blown off and it rained and was soaked with rain in there. So we stayed there. The next morning when we got up, we slept upstairs. And I went to the north window. And then I said to it, it looked so funny up north, there's something missing. I said, and he looked too, and yes, he said there is something missing, but we couldn't just figure out what it was. So we went down and our neighbors, and then they decided when we'd done our milking, we was going to drive up north to see. And then of course we seen all the destruction up there.
Well, it had been an actual tornado then, hadn't it?
That was a real tornado.
And was that the one that took the church too?
Yeah.
So it took the church and Halverson's house?
Yeah, it took all the buildings and Halverson's place except the chicken coop, and that was partly down on the ground.
Yeah, that was quite a tragedy.
Yeah, that was really bad.
At that time, Oakwood Church had been built, so there was a big upstairs to it, wasn't there?
Yeah, it wasn't a big church, it was a small church.
But it still had upstairs.
Yeah.
Then after that,
Then they made the basement.
Basement church. Was there a basement?
No.
There wasn't a basement, so they dug the basement.
Yeah, they dug the basement and decided on a basement and had planned to build a building on top, but they never did.
Just never quite got around to it.
No.
When was the church first built?
Let's see, that would be, I don't remember what it was. But it would be right around into that. It was quite new then, and this was in 1919.
Well, where were you married?
In Crosby.
Oh, in Crosby. At a church then?
No, we were married at the courthouse.
Oh. A simple ceremony.
Yeah.
Did a lot of people know you were going to get married, or did you kind of elope?
No, nobody knew.
Was everybody surprised?
Oh, in a way, I suppose they were, but...
Was that kind of the way it happened back then, that people just sort of suddenly... I mean, it wasn't like it is now, how it's big, the ceremonies. And,
there wasn't many that had weddings.
oh, I see, it was more or less, it was pretty common to have it happen that way.
Everyone got married and that was it.
Well, that's a good way to do it.
Yes, I guess it's just as good as these fancy weddings.
Well, times were different, too. Do you remember, was it a lot of work to keep up clothes then? Because you didn't have, like wash and wear fabrics and no wrinkle clothes.
No, we had to iron everything.
Everything was ironed. And I suppose things like the skirts were really full.
Oh, yes.
It was quite a job to do all that, wasn't it?
Oh, that was a big job, and they were rough and fancy.
I would imagine.
Oh, yes.
How about coats and stuff in the wintertime?
With heavy coats.
Were they like buffalo skin coats or sheepskin?
Oh, no, they could be heavy wool coats, You get that.
Hello, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.